it's Cliff here from Down Under. I'm going to do a video on fabricating my own enclosure, and it's occurred to me that this could be a good opportunity to show some of you that are considering building an enclosure or building a stand how viable it is to weld something up out of black steel bar and spray paint it. Quick and easy, low cost and very rigid. If you're familiar with the process, and I'll just take you through that briefly in the next couple of videos, you can consider whether this process will suit you as well. I mean, there's quite a few advantages to building your own enclosure. You can make it much more compact. This is only 1.4 meters wide for an 1100, and it's got really good access. So you can make it much more compact than the stock enclosure. You can build your own stand and make it a lot more rigid than the stock stand, which is just a sheet metal stand. You can pick up a length of box section black bar and weld it up. I just wanted to promote the idea of black steel bar, picking up a cheap welder if you don't have one, and a disc grinder, and have a look at the process, because it is quite simple. You might be a bit put off by it if you're not familiar with the process, so I'll take you through that. As I mentioned in a previous video, I want to change the front door on this enclosure from this tilting lift door to this compact sliding door, this type of door that opens and also slides. So you've got a very versatile system. And this is only 1.4 meters wide. This is smaller than a 770 and yet it's an 1100. So it's really compact. So you've got to get the materials on hand first. Isn't that the most boring part of the job? You've got to do all the research and measuring and ordering and wait for it to arrive. And in New Zealand it's much more difficult than it is in the US. There's a much more limited range of suppliers and options. Anyway, I bought these sliders and they seem to work really well. They take the weight. There's not much weight on it anyway, just a few kilos. But I need slightly more capacity because it's going into this slightly wider front opening. So to measure this up and find out what I need. So that's it in its extended situation there. It's just hanging off the top slider, and the bottom slider, there's no actual bottom slider, it's just guided sideways. You can see there I've got a sort of a flashing over the slider, and that means that the slider bearings are covered. They're covered on the inside because the acrylic or polycarbonate sheet is over the front here, and they're covered on the inside here by the flashing. So when you've got swarf and coolant spraying up, it can't actually get on that internal slide mechanism with this design. So I'm going to stay with this design. It works really well. All I need to do is purchase slightly longer sliders. You can buy a few lengths of box section steel, cut them off and weld them up, spray them with some grey spray paint, and put in some plywood panels and build your own stand, which will be more solid than the sheet metal stand. And also you can build monitor stands using the same process. So I'll go through some of the basic steps in doing your own fabrication, welding and construction from steel bar. I want to keep the actual content of this video fairly general, because I know you'll all be looking at it from a different perspective. Some of you will be thinking about building a stand, some of you an enclosure, some of you are monitor stand, some of you are interested in the process, and so I don't want to get down to too many details, but I've built a couple of different stands now, and I can just quickly outline how I would build my next stand. Start off with a carcass built out of box section or angle iron. It could be angle iron if you want really on a budget, or box section if you want to make it a little bit heavier, and then have 1/4 inch or 6mm front and back plates. And this box section carcass is the width of the base of your machine and a little bit deeper this way. So there's that plate on the front, there's the box section, and then you tie it together with a piece of angle iron here, and then in those gaps you can drop in some folded stainless steel here, which is just simple thin stainless steel cut to those sizes and folded and dropped into those gaps there, and that becomes the collecting tray, and that works really well. So that's how I would do it next time. I would use this design of base and tray and this design of enclosure. That would be the best of both worlds. So I'm just getting you thinking, giving you a few ideas, but not getting down to the details. I found a photo of it here on my computer. So this is the basic carcass. It's just a cube welded up out of black steel bar. You could use lighter steel if you wanted to save money. You could just use angle iron. And then there's that big front plate, and the back plate's actually in 2 pieces, and just a very light picture frame tacked on around there, so that you could drop in those folded stainless steel sheets. And then I just siliconed the downhill edges so the coolant would be sealed there. Anyway, I know you're all in different situations, and some of you are considering building an enclosure, others a stand, others a monitor stand, some of you are just thinking about the idea of how to fabricate something. And this video is just about promoting the method of fabricating out of steel bar, welding, arc welding it up and spray painting it. Is a very quick and easy way to build something that's quite professional looking. And although I'll be building enclosure doors, the process is very similar for whatever method, for whatever product you choose to make. So you can see that the 4-inch or 100mm disc grinder is a key power tool for this type of work, for fabricating black bar. You can put a cut-off wheel in it, say a 1mm reinforced cut-off wheel, and you can slice quickly if you don't have a cut-off saw. And a typical disc grinding wheel is used for offhand grinding surfaces and ends, and you can get a flap wheel, which is a great way to give a good clean up to remove rust and prepare for painting and get a nice surface. So these can be really cheap tools. This is like a $20 Chinese angle grinder, but it's fine just for occasional use, and it doesn't tie up a lot of capital. This is slightly better Hitachi, but even they're pretty reasonable price. Well, I know some of you are probably seriously considering buying a Tourmac, but the cost of a standard enclosure is scaring you off a bit, or you're thinking of buying a second one. And so this is all about encouraging you to consider building your own. And the other advantage is that you can design it more optimally for your requirements. You can make it more compact, you can give it more access. I think you can come up with a better design than is currently available. And I don't think this is going to be a threat to Tormac, because realistically there's only going to be a few of you that will go ahead and build your own. But have a think about it, because it's a fun project. Okay, there's probably more than enough for one video. I'll make a series of videos. I'll have a look closely and see how many views I get on this subject, and if I get a lot of views, I'll sort of stretch it out into a series of several videos and go into it in more details. If I don't get very many views, I'll probably cut it fairly short. Alright guys, thanks for watching.